The early 80s. That mystical time when suburban America smelled faintly of hairspray, microwaved pizza, and Reaganomics. Every living room had wood panel walls, a brick-sized remote control, and an Atari that could entertain the kids and accidentally summon spirits from the other side. And into that glorious chaos came Poltergeist, the haunted house movie that dared to ask, what if your cul-de-sac is built on a graveyard? It was The Exorcist for the middle class, with Spielberg's fingerprints all over it and a healthy side of static. Produced, and depending on who's gossiping, maybe directed, by Steven Spielberg, and officially helmed by horror visionary Tobe Hooper, Poltergeist dragged horror out of the castles and into cookie-cutter suburbia. It made every parent terrified of their TV and every kid question their clown collection. It also taught us 3 life lessons every homeowner should know. 1. Don't build on cemeteries. 2. Don't trust smiling real estate developers. And 3. Don't ignore the dog when it starts barking at empty corners.
Nope.
Meet the Freelings, the platonic ideal of 1980s suburbia. Dad Steve sells houses, Mum Diane is the kind of parent who can smoke a joint and still run a household, and their kids range from sarcastic teen to adorable toddler. The family dog is, as usual, the smartest one in the house. Strange things begin small. A chair slides across the floor. Toys move on their own. And the TV seems unusually friendly. Then little Carol Ann starts chatting with static like it's a pen pal. And suddenly, it's not so cute anymore. Soon, the Freelings realize their house isn't haunted by a single ghost. It's the afterlife's version of Times Square. And before long, suburbia's dream home becomes a supernatural war zone where "Honey, where's my daughter?" becomes a daily question. This is domestic horror at its best. Not a haunted castle, but a haunted mortgage.
Nope.
By the end of the late 70s, Steven Spielberg was untouchable. The man who gave us Jaws, Close Encounters, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. After redefining the blockbuster, he wanted to dip a toe into darker waters, to make a story about the supernatural invading the ordinary. The initial concept, Night Skies, was meant to be a nasty alien invasion movie. Small town, big terror. But Spielberg's heart leaned towards optimism, so he split his idea in two. E.T. got the friendly aliens and emotional hugs, and Poltergeist got the malevolent spirits and muddy corpses. He brought in Tobe Hooper, the mastermind behind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, whose ability to turn dinner scenes into walking nightmares made him perfect for a horror film that begins with family comfort and ends with psychological ruin. On paper, it was genius. Spielberg's sense of wonder meets Hooper's sense of dread. A collaboration between ambling charm and chainsaw grit. And though the credits list Hooper as director, Spielberg was on set so often that crew members started referring to him as the friendly ghost with final cut. It's one of cinema's great mysteries. who really directed Poltergeist? Spielberg says he guided Hooper. Hooper says he collaborated with Spielberg. In Hollywood speak, that usually translates to, "We'll never tell," but lawyers were involved.
Nope.
Before starring in Coach or voicing Mr. Incredible, Nelson played the all-American dad whose biggest stressor goes from mortgage rates to malevolent spirits. His performance nails that perfect "I'm pretending everything's fine" energy that every father has when the house is literally imploding. Diane is the beating heart of Poltergeist. Jo Beth throws herself literally into the role. Dragged across floors, hurled into vortexes, and dunked into a muddy pool full of skeletons. She's not acting scared, she's genuinely traumatized, because those skeletons, real. Williams manages to be fierce, funny, and utterly believable. She's the kind of mum who'd fight Satan with a hairdryer if she had to. That angelic became a cultural touchstone. O'Rourke's innocent presence made the horror hit even harder. This wasn't a gothic ghost story. It was your kid being lured into the void by something that sounds like Saturday morning cartoons. Her tragic death at just 12 years old added to the myth of the so-called Poltergeist curse, turning the film into equal parts masterpiece and ghost story itself. Playing the eldest daughter, Dunn brought warmth and teenage realism to the chaos. Tragically, she was murdered shortly after the film's release, intensifying the curse rumors and cementing Poltergeist's eerie reputation in Hollywood history. A psychic the size of a garden gnome, but with the power of a nuclear bomb. Her calm authority and surreal presence transformed the film's finale into something mythic, when she declares,
"This house is clean."
Audiences exhaled for about 3 seconds, before realizing, no, it bloody well isn't. A man who turned power tools into performance art. After Texas Chainsaw, he brought his nightmare sense of dread to suburbia, making domestic life look like a slaughterhouse painted in pastel. Spielberg's fingerprints are everywhere. The family warmth, the kids' banter, the camera gliding through suburban bliss before everything explodes. If The Exorcist was about faith, Poltergeist was about family. And that's pure Spielberg DNA. One of the greatest film composers to ever terrify a theatre. His score moves between lullaby and lunacy. Sweeping choral melodies that suddenly warp into nightmare harmonies. It's like a children's choir possessed by John Carpenter.
Nope.
Shot in Simi Valley, California, a place so generically suburban that spirits probably moved in out of sheer boredom, Poltergeist was an ambitious technical nightmare. Rooms were built on hydraulic rigs so they could tilt, spin, and collapse. Cameras were mounted to catch furniture flying like it had a union contract. Spielberg was reportedly on set every day, fine-tuning performances, suggesting camera angles, and according to some, occasionally calling action. Hooper insisted the two shared duties equally, though Spielberg's production company Amblin maintained creative control. And then there's the infamous skeleton story. In the climax, when Diane is pulled into a rain-filled pool surrounded by corpses, those skeletons weren't rubber props. They were actual human skeletons bought from a medical supply company because fake ones were too expensive. Nothing screams Hollywood glamour like swimming through corpses to save your child. Between malfunctioning rigs, endless reshoots, and rumoured paranormal mishaps, the set became its own ghost story. Even the crew started jokingly calling it Spielberg's Funhouse of Doom.
Nope.
Editing Poltergeist was like performing an exorcism with film reels. Spielberg oversaw the cut personally, ensuring the tone balanced between ambling warmth and nightmare vibes. Industrial Light and Magic delivered groundbreaking visual effects, glowing portals, spectral tornadoes, and an unforgettable closet sequence that felt like Disney on demonic acid. The sound design turned static into a character of its own. Every hiss, whisper, and hum of white noise felt alive, creeping into your living room long after the credits rolled. And Goldsmith's score elevated everything. Lullabies twisted into screams, choirs into chaos. When it was finished, it wasn't just a horror movie. It was a cinematic seance. Released in June 1982, just a week after E.T., Poltergeist proved Spielberg could terrify you and warm your heart in the same summer. Critics praised it for blending genuine terror with family emotion, a rare combo at that time. It earned over $120 million worldwide and 3 Oscar nominations for sound, visual effects, and score. And then came The Curse. Within a few years, several cast members, Heather O'Rourke, Dominic Dunn, Julian Beck, and Will Sampson, died under tragic or mysterious circumstances. Whether coincidence or cosmic payback for using real skeletons, the legend persists to this day. The film spawned 2 sequels, a reboot that no one asked for, countless references in pop culture, and an entire subgenre of suburban supernatural horror. Without Poltergeist, there's no The Conjuring, no Insidious, and Stranger Things would just be Kids on Bikes, the show. So what do you think? Was Spielberg the true director? Or did Hooper never get his due? Drop your fan theories below. Bonus points for diagrams, strings, and blurry behind the scenes photos. Poltergeist isn't just scary, it's emotionally scary. It hits because it makes the terror personal. The monster isn't a demon or a killer, it's the home itself, the very place you're supposed to feel safe. Joe F. Williams is phenomenal. Craig T. Nelson is perfectly frazzled, and Heather O'Rourke is hauntingly iconic. The effects may look VHS aged now, but the storytelling still hits home. What makes Poltergeist endure is its heart. It's about a family refusing to give up on each other even as reality crumbles around them. It's about how the American dream can literally bury the past. And it's about how a clown doll can ruin an entire generation's sleep schedule. So tell me, what scene messed you up the most? The clown, the tree, or that hellish closet? If you say the clown, congratulations, you're human. So, that's Poltergeist. The movie that made static terrifying, suburbia spiritual, and clowns the stuff of therapy sessions. If it's been a while, do yourself a favour. Turn off the lights, grab a CRT TV, and relive that nightmare that made the 80s weirdly wholesome and horrifying at the same time. Until next time, keep your televisions unplugged, your clown dolls in storage, and your real estate developers under surveillance. And remember, if you suddenly hear voices coming from your TV, don't say,
They're here.
just say, nope, and call an exorcist with good Yelp reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe before the spirits get there first, because around here, the content is never clean.